League of Ordinary Gentlemen. The log. Wouldn't it be more like Lug? Oh! Hello! Michael! Aiden! And some guy named Kendrick. We really need to get to know each other more, Kendrick. And everyone populating the World Wide Web, created in the image of God, beautiful and magnificent humans. Well, it is a pleasure indeed to make your acquaintances, League viewers and League members. I was just breaking into Michael's house to light on fire some of his old, scripts and books and stuff. He likes that. But I couldn't find a lighter, so I was just gonna chop them up instead. If I had found my lighter, I was going to burn a third of them down and play my fiddle. But talking to you people seems a lot more interesting. So, let's start with the facts. Well, let's start with the facts. Michael's gone to Mexico, and despite many questions to Aiden about his life in ABI, we have heard little of what life is actually like there, except that it involves much of Kendrick, and pain inflicted between them back and forth. I, for one, would love to see more of this Alaska Bible Institute, where these fellow League members live. Of course, I'm a League member myself, because I am an ordinary gentleman, even if I am not human. Forget that last part. Anyways, since I have no questions for anyone to answer right now, I'll talk about some things. Bananas sound like a good topic? No, wait, maybe muffins. Yeah, let's go with muffins. The 8X crew can talk about bananas. Muffins were developed by Americans in the late 18th century and were first termed as quick bread in Amelia Simmons' cookbook. The first American cookbook, by the way. Called American Cookery in 1796. Mentioned them being made with something called pearlash instead of baking powder, which would be invented 61 years later. They were, and still are, made from a batter and not dough, so thus a mold is needed to cook them. Now the problem is that cupcakes and muffins have an intertwining history, so it gets confusing. But I'll end this conversation with a note. Dog! That in the 19th century it was popular for muffin men to go up and down the streets selling muffins, much like ice cream trucks today. Thus, if you wanted muffins, it's nice to know the men who sell them. But of course, an all too popular common question was, do you know the muffin man who lives on Drury Lane? Now for story time! Deep in the heart of Alaska, Frederick the Noble-Hearted sought safety from the oncoming blizzard that was wreaking havoc in his neighborhood. Too cold to go any further, he stopped at his friend's house. First he knocked and rang the doorbell, but no one answered, and his fingers began to tint a purple hue. He went to their garage door opener desperately, trying to enter the code. He saw his friend Jonathan enter several times before, but Frederick was not always one for keen memory and failed to enter the code. But then he remembered there was a dog door leading to the garage in the backyard. He scrambled through the cold, slipping on his way, and then barreled through the doggy door, the small, small doggy door, only to come into the blackness of the garage. Anyways, after safely making it inside, he warmed himself by the, stove. They didn't have any logs for the fireplace. Not to say that Alaskans don't have fireplaces, we practically all of us do, but they didn't have any, wood logs. He sat his belongings and went about the house, seeing if anybody was home, actually, at all. His belongings included a backpack for school, which school was cancelled by the blizzard, his lunch sack, and a sword that his uncle had given him. So running it back a bit, he visited his uncle before he was heading to school, which got cancelled, which was why he was coming back. So he just visited his uncle. His uncle had given him a sword for that set, and his uncle said it was his father's. His father is very much alive. And he said something about your time will come soon. Frederick just thought that was very bizarre and almost creepy, and he was contemplating holding off on ever visiting his uncle again. Anyways, he made himself at home, and he made his way upstairs to his friend Jonathan's room. On his way, noticing very peculiarly and very oddly and very rarely that his friend's sister, Karen's room was wide open, and having never seen her room open, ever, he took note of how she very much loved the color baby blue. Carrying on, he went forward to Jonathan's room, and found a very bizarre scene. Plaster from the ceiling had littered the ground, and there's an attic door opening above Jonathan's bed. Frederick took one glance up and was appalled at the sight he saw. Stone in the attic, almost like the opening of a cave. Everything was stone up there. Without a moment's hesitation, he rushed downstairs and emptied his backpack from all those heavy textbooks, and then... What did he do? Then he took the lunch pack and his father's sword, and the backpack, and rushed upstairs to the kitchen, filled it with as food as he can, because he knew that Jonathan's mother would have said, "You make yourself at home, Frederick, dear." Moving on. In his teenage heart, Frederick still believed in fairy tales, and with the slightest glimmer of hope that another world existed, he took it and rushed upon it. Another personality seemed to open up in his mind, one that was filled with adventure, wonder, and great excitement. Then, rushing up to Jonathan's room, he slammed the door behind him, said a quick prayer for safety, and then he leapt onto his friend's bed and up into the attic. He gripped a cold sensation of stone and pulled himself in. Well, I'd love to continue, but I'm out of time. Anyways, it's not up yet, but soon there will be a link right here to my YouTube channel, AK Jackson, that will feature some awesome shows, including some storytelling, idea generating, drawing, and miscellaneous other stuff. I'll also have another link right here to my blog, which I also talk about the same things and more, and fun. Yes. Look for that link in the summer of 2016, and thank you, League Gentlemen, for the chance to chat, even if you didn't ask for it. Adieu.